Hey y'all, what's up? This your girl May Love. Welcome here to my channel, The Order of the White Lotus. I am here today on this nice afternoon, nice cool afternoon. Matter of fact, I just want to sit up here and share, you know, share this message that Spirit is putting on me and stuff about, adults. And I'm gonna start with my own community and stuff, but it's also general speaking about dealing with childhood traumas as an adult and learn how to deal with them and finding the right tools to sit here and heal those childhood trauma before you get to a place in life that all bets are off, or all the damage has already been done in a way. And I don't want you guys to get to that place, because honestly, it's a low vibrational place, and I want to sit up here and ascend you and ascend your spirit to a high vibrational place so you can get in touch with your higher self and God and the higher spirits and your ancestors and your spirit guides and stuff and your guardian angels. You can get in contact with these entities and stuff in your higher self, but you got to love yourself first and start with you first. And you cannot reach to that ascending level until you sit up here and understand the basics. And it's definitely is your root chakra, and that's earth chakra. It's by finding the root of your problems and the root of your trauma that you're dealing with as an adult. And my thing is, it starts with your childhood. And I was up here and sharing my story about what took place in my childhood, a childhood as a very traumatic situation that changed my life in a different course, and I had to find my way back, and I had to find my way back. I had to have the strength to find my way back and stuff. But I'm not finna put it in a different perspective for anybody. I'm just going to share my story about it, because honestly, me, I'm a person, like, I'm an open book and stuff, so I don't have a problem expressing what I went through and shit and stuff, because if it's I went through it, and I feel like this definitely can help somebody. And I feel like as a child, dealing with childhood trauma, I carried that shit all in my 20s, all the way to last year, to be honest. To be very honest, I carried my childhood trauma. It started at the age of 12, so the age of 12 to the age of 30, I carried that in my spirit for so long. I'll be honest, when at the age of 12, I was a victim of bisexual offender. I was a victim of rape and child molestation. And it was nobody from my family. It was somebody, friends to the family. And this friends to the family and stuff, we had just moved in a new neighborhood and everything. This friend of the friend of the family and stuff, whatever, we just moved over here in the neighborhood and everything and stuff. So it was 7 girls in the household, no male figure at all women. So I guess, even when we first moved over in the neighborhood and stuff, the police came and let my mother know, like, be careful, because there's a lot of men out here who prey on, young ladies and stuff. And since you got a house full of girls, be very aware of this and shit. So she definitely kept us on the leash and shit. But honestly, it didn't stop for what the situation occurred. And when I was 12 years old and stuff, just moving over this neighborhood and stuff, I was in the tomboy stage in my younger years and shit. I always wanted to be like LL Cool J. So before we moved over here and stuff, I was in the tomboy stage. I was dressing like LL Cool J with the sweats, with one leg rolled up, and I wanted to hang. I was like that and shit. I love the 2-hand touch football and shit, kickball and stuff, flag football and shit. I was into all of that when I was a younger kid. But when we moved over here, it was like going on 2002 and everything. So I'm like, okay. My mom like, we going in a new neighborhood. You're not finna be acting like this over here. So what she did, she threw all my entire wardrobe and she gave me all girl clothes, skirts, dresses and shit. And I was not ready to show my figure off like that, because I was still in that tomboy stage and stuff. So when I'm starting a whole new school, I'm dressing entirely different than what I normally dress like and shit. Everything was a whole different new change and shit and stuff. So it's like the first few months of the year and shit and stuff, like everything was okay and shit. I had to get adjusted to the school. We had to get adjusted to the neighborhood and everything like that. My mom had made friends with a couple neighbors up, couple down the street and everything and stuff. So, on weekends, they turn up and shit. They come up my mom's house, gang of, everybody was out. It was lit back then and everything, but the adults be where the adults at, the kids be where they at. type shit and stuff. But I feel like when the situation occurred with me and stuff, whatever, it was getting to the point that this individual was dealing with one of my siblings at the time frame. And this individual used to come in at a certain period of time at nighttime. I used to, back then we didn't officially moved in everything. So I didn't really have no, a bed just yet. So I was sleeping on the couch and shit at the time frame and stuff. And this individual come in, spend time with my sibling and shit and stuff, leave. Yeah, go look for me a flower. And, leave, I lock the door and stuff and lay back down and shit. But I feel like when, this incident took place and shit and stuff, whatever, when he came in and when he was about to leave, he never left, and stuff, whatever. And, he came in and stuff, whatever. I was sleeping on the couch and everything and shit and stuff. And this individual, he got on the other side, the opposite couch and everything. Obviously, he was drunk and fucked up and shit and stuff. But, I had turned my back against him and I was trying to rest. But, I felt the energy and shit that something wasn't necessarily right and shit. But I was afraid. I swear to God, I put this on everything. I was afraid to move. I was frozen. So I felt him crawling, like I'm hearing Jit crawling. Yeah, good girl. Yellow flower. Go find me a white flower. I heard him crawling and stuff over there and shit and stuff and everything. And let me just up here and, shorten it, make it lighter than what it needs to be and shit. This individual started performing sexual acts on me. And he was trying to force me to perform sexual acts on him. And he did the situation like that for 3 times. It happened 3 times and shit and stuff. One, each and every time he had some type of form of weapon, like a knife or something and shit. He'll cut me a little bit, like on my leg and shit and stuff. Or he'll sit here and get the knife and burn the lighter and shit and stuff and shit. And he'll kind of like, try to, make me fear him and shit. And it did. I didn't express it. I didn't tell nobody what was taking place. Only thing that my mom know and the family know, as far as they concerned and shit, I was just acting different and shit, and they didn't understand why I was acting this way and shit and stuff. And I'm like, it's something that's going on. I can't express it because this person do not want to, they're not leaving and walking away. What? Anyways, when the situation occurred and stuff, whatever, like I said, it put me in a different spiritual, I don't even say spiritual, like, it put me in it took me down a dark path and shit. And I'll be real with you and shit, it wasn't a path of lightness to me and shit. I honestly felt, ashamed, disgusted of myself. I was afraid. I was in a mental state, mind entrapment and shit, and didn't understood. Like I was lost. I was very lost. And I'm like, after the last situation occurred and shit and stuff, it just made me feel like shit. At that time frame, this is how I was thinking at that time frame as a 12-year-old. I'm like, if a man gonna come along and try to take my innocence, which they did, why would I sit here and wait for them to take it? Why not just give it to them for free before they try to take it from me or overpower me like what took place and they try to take it from me? Why not just be open up just to give it to them just so they won't sit here and force themselves or force their hand on me and shit like what I went through in the past and shit. So when I had hit 15 and shit and everything and stuff, whatever, I was like I was rebellious against my parents. I was rebellious against everybody and shit. I did not give a fuck and shit, to be honest and stuff. And I was not just out here sleeping around and shit, but I was whatever little relationship I call it back then and stuff that I got into, I was easily giving myself to them before I got to know them or before we actually made a before they showed me that they really cared about me and shit. And that type of situation, it continued on for 3 years and shit. When I reached the 18, that's when I had my first daughter and everything and stuff. And she changed me and stuff. She changed me a lot after that situation because I knew that around the time when I was 18 and pregnant, that's when I told my mother the truth about what took place with me when I was 12. She did not know this. And she looking at me, why you didn't say anything? You should have said something. I would have did this and I would have did that and stuff. I'm like, it's kind of hard to do that back then and stuff when this person kept feeding you with money, liquor, And back then, I'm gonna be honest, my mom was drinking, but as long as this person kept feeding y'all with that shit and stuff, like, you not gonna look at him as like this type of individual. And he made it hard for me to be more expressive to you about it, because every time I look around, this motherfucker popping up for some kind of reason and shit. And they would sit up here and do certain things, like soon as adult walk past and shit and stuff. That's the reason I had to sit up. I started back down dressing. I started dressing back like a boy, because I'm like, I didn't feel comfortable. It dropped my self-esteem, dropped my confidence low, and everything like that. And so it put me in a fucked up state of mind. And I was in that state of mind for some years and shit and stuff. Like I said, after I had my oldest daughter and stuff, I got to a place and shit of, I expressed that to my mom and stuff, but I didn't realize how much damage that was taking place. And even then, after I had my daughter and stuff, and I'm coming into my early 20s and this and that and shit, this is around the time I want to party, I want to hang out, I want to be in the club. My mama kept me in the house too long. I went through some shit in the house, watched everything, this and that and shit. It's time for me to break free. So the past 3 years, my first 3 years of my 20s, shit, I was hanging out. I was in the club, to be honest with you, every motherfucking weekend and shit, just to sit here and just keep my mind off shit. So I was in the club and shit and stuff. Like I said, I wasn't meeting random niggas. Yeah, go look for Shining. Hi. But the issue was, it's not just me looking for random men. It's just the point that I didn't know how to set strong boundaries up for myself, and I didn't sit up here and take up for myself in the way when it came to men and shit and stuff. I was easy to submit to a man and shit without that man showing me how much they willing to be there for me first and shit. And that was carrying on through a lot of years. And I'm like, damn, God, like, why every time I'm meeting a new nigga and shit, he's carrying the same characteristics? What the fuck going on here? Like, if I'm reading out the same handbook, if I'm getting these niggas out the same basket, like, if that's the case, let me just up here close my eyes and shit. And they're trying to figure this shit out and stuff. And I still didn't know. I was still going through them cycles and shit and stuff. Even with after I had my second daughter in 2017 and shit, it was kind of the same concept. I was up here, starting a situation before getting to know a person for who they really is and everything. Got pregnant. Then here I come, find out the truth is this individual X, Y, and Z and shit. I still did not understood why until I got to last year. And I was in my South Node. And I realized these karmic tests, I said, okay, I'm getting more in tune with my spirit. I'm getting more, tapped in and shit with my spirituality and shit. So it started hitting. So it came to the point when I sat up here and got introduced to this certain situation, this certain person, the last person I was dealing with and stuff. I will say that it was a soul connection, but it was a temporary relationship. And because of that, we was on 2 different time frames and everything. But I will say this particular, I don't know, keep saying particular, but this particular relationship, it was spiritual than anything. The connection is something I had never felt before and stuff. But because that we was on 2 different timelines, and I was at a different place in my life, he was in a different place in his life. He still got to work through his inner demons. I'm still working through my inner demons and shit. I was still like, I was still overly giving. I was still overly indulging into a man. I still didn't understand why and shit. And I'm feeling like when we broke up and shit, and when he hurt me. And this was a broken heart hurt. This was a hurt that I was crying on my pillow to the point the next day I had frog eyes. I had to wear glasses all fucking day and shit. I had to wear glasses all fucking day. I remember that. I'm boo-hoo crying. And I'm pouring out the emotion. I'm like, damn, I'm like 31 now and shit. And I never went through this type of experience, this type of hurt before. Well, God, why it hurt so much? Why this shit hurt? And it's hitting so home. I had to get myself out of that situation. When I was in my hermit mode, I had to get to myself, and I had to self, what's going on? We got to figure this out and everything and stuff. What's about this, maybe because you don't know, you didn't know how to set healthy boundaries up in the past due to the fact what took place. You caused to put this old belief in your mind that, you should be overly given to a person or a man before they give to you. And you should understand that type of old tradition do not work like that. It's supposed to be an equal give and take. Learn your worth. Know your worth. Start loving yourself more. So when somebody end up leaving you, it won't sit up here and hurt as fully bad as it did. But the only reason why I've heard it fully bad as it did because I was in a soul connection with this individual. And it was just unfortunate. I feel like it was just a missed opportunity in a way because I feel like, he still had his own inner demons that he had to face and he had to deal with. And I couldn't carry on the burdens or help people with their burdens when I wasn't helping myself. So I had to sit up here and go within. I had to find out what them issues was. And when I went back and I was thinking about what took place with me as a young girl and shit, it definitely made me realize, like, damn, May, like, you definitely need to start setting more stronger boundaries than what you realize and stuff. You need to be more assertive with your, your thinking and the way you move and stuff. You need, be more in tune with who you are and love yourself enough that if anybody leave, you still shouldn't feel lonely. You shouldn't feel lonely just because this individual left or these family members or these friends left. You shouldn't feel lonely behind it. You should take that silence or that, people moving away as a blessing. It's the reason why God, removed them out your life in the first place. Everybody here is for a season and definitely for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It's the reason why they're here, and it's the season why how long they're going to be here. And if that person is willing to do the inner work like you're willing to do the inner work, then, okay, y'all can coexist with each other. Y'all can procreate with each other. But until then, this individual or this person, these people got to do this work. And you cannot help them on their path because you didn't get no help on your path. You had to learn this shit on your own, and for a fact this wasn't a tough journey, but I would love to help prevent people and my younger people from going down this path. So if you have any childhood trauma that you're afraid to express or talk about, I feel like it's definitely important for you guys to be more open within yourselves. You don't have to start with anybody else. Start with yourself first and say it out verbally to yourself. Talk to yourself about it. Hear it out loud instead of thinking it and feeling it. Just hear it out loud like, damn, I went through some shit in life. I have daddy issues. My father wasn't there 100% as well, too. I had abandonment issues and stuff or whatever. I had to feel like I had to have a man with me and shit, even if he treat me like shit and stuff. Well, if he's not giving me this reciprocate energy back to me, I still felt like I had to be there and shit, and I didn't understood why and shit. And I knew it like, no, this coming from my dad, and my dad not being around, or he wasn't around the way I wanted him to be around. He was there for my other siblings on, the other side, but he wasn't there for me and shit, being because I was the outside child and shit and stuff. You feel me? So I had to step in and forgive my father for that. I had to forgive my mother and stuff, whatever, due to what took place with us and shit and stuff. As a young girl, I had to forgive her that, maybe she wasn't, maybe she didn't see what was going on, obviously, and everything, what took place, but I cannot sit there and hold this resentment in my heart for her. I had to forgive her for that. She did the best she could. And I'm at an age now, I'm woman enough to heal these wounds myself and shit. I didn't go to her about this. I didn't go to nobody else. I didn't go to counseling. I went within. I went within myself. I took time off to myself to sit here and heal these old childhood trauma wounds because I wanted to be a better person, because I know my sole purpose out here is to teach people about my experience, what I went through, to give them the courage and the inspiration to get up and either go to therapy or sit up here and book with me, and we can have these type of open conversations, because I feel like this shit is not easy. It's not going to be easy, but I am a woman of high spiritual rankings, and I'm a woman of healing, and I don't have a problem, and I would love to sit up here and have these conversations with individuals that, who need this healing. You can sit up here, is people literally in their 40s, 45, 46, 47, in their 50s and shit, and still having to heal their past hood trauma, what they dealt with when they was a kid. You know what I'm saying? It's we all didn't have the same upbringing. Everybody didn't have the perfect upbringing. Everybody went through some shit in a point of time in their life. But it takes you to heal from that. Because if you do not heal from that, it's going to continue to carry on in your adult life. And I don't want you to keep going down this road that what I had to go through. That's why I said, thank God I learned my lesson at a young age that I did. I learned my lesson when in all my 20s. After this situation occurred when I was 12, of course, with my teenage years and shit, but I learned my full valuable life purpose lesson in my 20s. I went through, like I said, it was 10 plus years with my karmic cycle and stuff. And I just up here and graduated last year. And it was after me getting broken down to my lowest of my heart to up here and graduate. And that's what God do. God gonna separate you when you know you a chosen one, and God gave all of us a soul purpose here on this earth. But when you choose that soul purpose, just know God gonna separate you. He finna sit up here and isolate you from everybody else. And that's what he was doing. He was shedding all the old people out my life. They start shedding. I'm like, damn. Family members ain't fucking with me. Friends ain't fucking with me and shit and stuff. Every man I got to encounter with and shit and stuff, it was the same thing and shit. And I'm like, you know what? It's for a reason and stuff. God will not be putting me through all this shit for nothing and stuff. Obviously, it's something that he want me to get to. And of course, it was myself. He's like, yeah, I remove all these damn people because I want you to know yourself. You can't learn yourself when you around a whole room full of noise. You can't hear yourself thinking. You can't hear yourself speaking within and shit when you constantly in the room of others all the time. Listen to their problems, listen to their burdens, and you're not working on yours. No, you need to work on yours first. And long as you work on yours first and you sit here and graduate from these test lessons that I am presented to you or you've been presented in your life, I guarantee you could be able to help somebody else who's going through the same situation. That's exactly the reason why I'm making the videos the way I'm making these videos. My videos not going to come off as same as, because it's not. I am not the same as everybody else. I walk different. I talk different. I was born here by myself, but I also know that I am a chosen one, and a chosen one, I am a part of a spiritual community with light workers. People actually want to do good out here to share the light and love and healing techniques out here. And the more I grow, the more I have more things to explain to you guys in the way that I know how, based off my personal experience. That's the reason why I felt like I had to sit up here and express my childhood trauma for you guys to understand that it's not going to be easy. But I feel like I know it's definitely spiritually worth working on. It's definitely fucking worth it. Once you get past the little hard stage, I guarantee you're going to sit up here and maneuver through life in more of a prosperous way. You'll be just like this. You'll be bypassing all the bullshit and stuff. You know how to handle yourself. You know how to, think clearly. You know how to sit up here and have your healthy boundaries up. You know you're not just going to let nobody just come in your mind, body, and spirit and shit and try to penetrate you with bullshit and drama and their burdens that they're not trying to work on. That's why I say it always starts with you. Start with yourself. Heal them inner boys, the childhood trauma in your gut and shit. Okay? Heal that hurt little boy within you. That I know he went through a lot of shit. I know he probably was abandoned at a young age. I know his dad maybe wasn't there. His mother maybe wasn't there. He had to fend for himself. I know it was hard. But give him a hug. Give his ass a hug one big time. Give him one big hug and say, you know what? We got this. We got this. I'm going to heal this. I got us. We going to be okay. Everybody not out here to going to come and get me. There's a lot of good people out here, just as much as bad people out here. I just know now that I know for a fact that these abandonment issues or these neglect issues that I've been going through is the reason why I've been carrying this shit through my life and in situations and relationships. And you're sabotaging yourself in relationships, afraid that this person may leave you based off what you haven't healed. But if you know yourself and get to the point of loving yourself, you should also know that, yes, this person may leave me. But this person is showing me this unconditional love. And this person is showing me love that I never experienced before. So yes, it may come off intense. It may come off scary. But I am willing to do the inner work first to sit up here and match this energy. Because I know this is a high vibrational energy that I'm finna get myself encounter with and stuff. Or with any aspect. That could be business-wise and anything. Before you make a business decision and going to another job and stuff, at least take the time out to get to know yourself first well enough that if this job is fully fitting for me within. Does it fulfill me spiritually? Not just my pockets, not just the money. Don't just think about only the fucking money. Think about what it's going to carry on your body and your spirit and your energy when you lay your ass in bed at night. Because you can be making good money, but that job can be highly stressful each and every fucking day. And you're going to be trying to figure out what's going on. I'm making great money, but I'm under a lot of pressure. I don't have time for my kids. I don't have time to sit up here and go hang out with the girls. I don't have time to go hang out with the boys, get my hair cut, really. I'm just working. I'm making real good ass money, but I'm highly stressful on top of it. You don't want to be like that. You want to at least try to find your soul purpose out here. Find your soul purpose. It's going to be something outside of your job or your jack of all trades talents that you already have in the book and shit. It's going to be outside of that, but it's something that's truly spiritually fulfilling for you that I feel like is definitely something to pursue. And once you get to know your inner self and love your inner self and heal them past childhood traumas, I declare, I believe that, you're going to open a whole new life cycle for you. God's going to graduate you. And what comes after every graduation? A celebration, a spiritual celebration. God's going to rain down with blessings and abundance and open up doors of opportunities for you. He just wants you to take that step into that light. He wants you to sit up here and grow. He wants you to sit up here and maneuver through life without feeling hurt and damaged based on what happened to you in the past. Yes, we all went through stuff. Yes, I know what you've been through was so fucking unfortunate. And I'm here to say I'm sorry for your loss or whatever you went through in the past. But it's time as an adult to get out that mind state. Understand that you're still here today. As long as you're still here, you still have an opportunity to grow. You still have an opportunity to tap into yourself, to love yourself, and build your spirituality up and your vibrations up. Build them up to the point that you so in tune with your enlightenment self and stuff, like you can be creating your own heaven here on earth. If you can sit up here and sabotage your life to create hell on earth, you don't think you can use your higher self to sit up here and create heaven on earth? That's what I'm trying to get you to. Learn how to create your own heaven here on earth. So this is the message for you guys. This girl made love. I am here. Thank you for watching the Order of the White Lotus channel. I will be back probably tonight. I might be back tonight and stuff with another message and stuff. If not, you about to see way more of my content, way more of my messages about sharing, different past trauma issues and learning techniques on how to deal with everything. Me, I'm a jack of all trades, and me, y'all gonna get bit of everything on my channel. But y'all definitely, these messages are definitely life-changing messages that I personally went through, the things that I had to go through and work through to